This episode is sponsored by Vinnie Tortorich and Peter Pardini's Fat, a documentary. Now available for pre-order on iTunes.
I'm Vinnie Tortorich, and I've been in the health and fitness profession for 36 years. There were several things missing in the 1970s. There were no big box gyms, certainly no Jane Fonda dancing around yet. No fitness ads on television.
You just shake it, back and forth.
And there were no fat people. So the big question becomes, when did we start getting fat? Let's look at a myth. 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day. Where did that come from? So am I to believe that Shaquille O'Neal and Peter Dinklage are supposed to have the same amount of water on any given day? Where did it come from? I remember there was an Oprah show where she rolled out a little radio flyer wagon full of fat and go, hey, this is horrible for you. Don't eat this. And then she tells people, go eat bread.
I love bread.
My question is always, how do we end up here? It's about time that you guys knew the truth.
Click on the photo image to the left at FascinationStreetPod.com to take you directly to the iTunes pre-order page.
I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Hey guys, if you like what I'm doing, click the Amazon banner at the top of the homepage on FascinationStreetPod.com and do all of your shopping through Amazon. Once you click on it and it takes you to Amazon, you can bookmark it or add it to your favorites and you won't have to go to my site each time. It helps me keep the show going, and again, thanks for listening. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with actress and producer Laura Niemi. In this episode, we talk about what it was like to have her first television role be on Joss Whedon's cult classic Firefly series, as well as some of the other amazing projects she's worked on, including The Sopranos and Castle. We also talk about what got her into the film industry and what she did previously within music that allowed her to go on tour opening for Marilyn Manson. And finally, we talk about the biggest show on television. Laura plays Jack Pearson's mother on NBC's This Is Us, which recently got renewed for 3 more seasons. Unheard of. So enjoy, folks. This is my conversation with actress, producer, writer, and now director, Laura Niemi.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Laura Niemi. How you doing today?
I am great. I was just listening to one of your podcasts. I got to say, I'm digging the intro music.
Oh, sweet.
Very Matrix. I love it.
Which one were you listening to?
My girl, Nicole Butler, who I love.
Oh,
I love her so much.
She's awesome. Do you know her?
I do.
Oh, cool. I had no idea.
Uh-huh.
She's really neat. Well, spoiler alert, when you listen to that whole episode, there's a giveaway, and it was actually somebody that she went to high school with who won that giveaway.
You're kidding. Oh, I love that.
Isn't that cool?
I love that. Very cool. Now I can't wait to hear what the giveaway was.
I know, right? Everybody else get jealous because the other dude won.
I don't have anything to give away. Oh, my God. I feel like I'm already losing in this game.
No way. You're going to give away all the secrets to Hollywood.
Oh, good.
All right, Laura. So where were you born and raised?
I'm a native Angelino. I was born in Los Angeles.
What? Nobody was born in Los Angeles.
I know. I'm third generation, too, so it runs deep.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that.
What do your parents do?
I love this city. My mom was a producer in the film industry, film and TV, and my dad was middle management in insurance.
Gotcha. What about your grandparents? You said you're third generation. What did your grandparents do?
Yes, my grandpa was in produce, so he supplied all of Southern California with their onions and potatoes and whatnot for years. He was very successful that way.
I like onions and potatoes.
I know, right? Yeah. And my grandmother was in real estate.
Oh, cool.
She was a working lady.
Rock on. Well, congratulations on being a third-generation Angelino. Those are pretty rare.
Yeah, they are. They really are. We are.
So, let's assume that you were born and raised and you grew up there. Well, what high school did you go to in L.A.?
Well, I went to a few because I was a little bit of a troubled teen. So I went to, in the San Fernando Valley, I went to El Camino. And then we moved on the west side and I went to Beverly and Uni.
Dang. You went to Beverly Hills High, like 90210?
Yeah, I did. For a hot minute, I did.
I don't know if you care, but the gentleman who is currently the head football coach of that school is a previous guest. One of the first guests I did on this podcast.
Really? Oh, wow.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, I wasn't really that involved in the activities. Has he been there a really long time?
This was his first season, this just past season.
Oh, how cool.
So before that, he
that?
was he was a professional football player, and then eventually, he transitioned into that. So super nice guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah, you have to be a special breed to be teaching at a high school level. You have to be a pretty special breed.
Yeah, there's no way I could do it. Absolutely
I
not.
couldn't either. Yeah.
No way. So when did you decide that you were going to get into music? How'd that happen?
Well, I was always involved in music. At a young age, piano was my first instrument. And when I was, I guess, in my late teens, 18, 19, I started auditioning for bands. Realized pretty quickly that I wasn't going to be a lead singer and picked up a guitar. And eventually I played bass in different bands, bass guitars. Kind of in a way, a late bloomer because most of the people I was playing with had been disciplined for years and years with their instruments. So around late teenagehood.
So do I understand this correctly that at like 9 years old, you went to New York?
We did. We got. My dad was transferred to the East Coast, to Rochester, New York. So we lived there for a little bit. And there is Eastman School of Music, which is a very prestigious school, where I went for a little bit. And just like a typical little kid. I mean, I lacked discipline. I was there for a little bit, and didn't continue on with piano. And I realized pretty quickly that these are serious. They just had that chip of you knew they were going to go to a concert level, so that was not where I was at as a youngin'.
Well, heck no, you had to come home and then form or join a band called Spork.
Yes, indeed. That's correct. Yes, I was in other bands, but yes, that's the one that probably got the most attention, if you would call it,
Now, what kind of music was Spork?
Psychedelic rock. I mean, I'm dating myself, but like early Devo. And that's kind of what Spork was. Hence why, Marilyn Manson, brought us along with him for a brief tour that we did back in the day.
Now, without dating yourself too much, was this the era of like The Beautiful People with Marilyn Manson?
Yes. Yes.
What was it like to be on tour with that dude? Was he like as insane as everybody thinks he is?
He's a visionary. He's a hell of a performer. So I look back on those days and with awe.
So, when did you decide to get out of the music and into the, in front of the camera game?
Well, I was always in the performing arts as a teenager. Dance and music and acting were all part of my life, but I never took it. I never thought necessarily that wasn't going to be my career. I just was not interested in. But I continued to study just because I enjoyed it. I always like to say music wasn't conducive to my mental health, so to speak. I basically just realized that lifestyle was not going to be good for me, and got my act together, and then really started pursuing the craft. I got a job at a theater in West LA.
You were talking about the Odyssey Theater in LA?
Yes, which just I attribute so many great things to. I met my husband there. I learned about incredible playwrights, experimental theater, and then I eventually became a member of a theater company there. and started getting really involved in theater. And off I went. I just got in deep and I fell in love with the craft. I realized what it meant, the kind of commitment it meant, started surrounding myself with, my fellows. And then eventually I started my own theater company. And that was a real love affair. So that's the trajectory. But, in a sense, I was a late bloomer. A lot of my peers had already gone to fancy drama schools and spent their entire life studying the craft. And, though I was, a participant in studying and learning about the craft, it was for pure joy, not for doing art for art's sake, not in any way, shape, or form thinking that would be a career choice. You know what I mean?
Right. What was the name of, or what is the name of your production company?
Lost Angels Theater Company.
Oh.
Which, of course, in hindsight, oh, God, I wish I knew. Brevity, because trying to tell people it's Lost, not Los Angeles, Angels Theater, spelled the traditional way with an R-E at the end.
That's hilarious.
Oh, God, I would have come up with an easier name.
You're funny.
Lost Angels Theater Company.
Tell me about Killer Joe. Tell me about that. That was your first show, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd actually co-produced a play, an Irish play about the trouble called Ourselves Alone, with a couple other producers, and that was very successful. And then I just decided, I was going to branch out and do it on my own. And so I contacted Tracy Letts, and the word on the street was he was not really excited about giving the rights to that particular play. And I basically begged him, through his reps and emails to him. And I got the rights, and it was just an incredible experience. We did it in this basement theater in Hollywood, a 40-seater that was right next door to a Thai restaurant. So it always smelled like you walked out of the theater always smelling like Thai food. And it was just a beautiful mess. One of those highlights in my career for sure. And it turned out we hit a chord, and people were coming to see it, and it was selling out. And then when the Ovation Awards came, we kind of swept the Ovation Awards, which was really, really, really cool, because at that time the Ovations weren't split into categories. It's changed since then, but we were competing as a 40-seat theater, equity waiver, with the Geffen and the Amundsen and the Taper and bigger playhouses. And so when we won, it was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, for the little guy with a mean punch, So everybody was pretty excited.
Well, that is kick-ass. Where did you, I know you won some awards. Where are they? Are they on your mantle or in a box?
They are. So I get to see them. Yeah, I worked really hard on that show, and as did everybody else, and I'm pretty proud of it. So I display them in my office as a badge of honor. I'm very excited.
Well, you absolutely should be. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you.
I hate when people tell me that, their awards are in a box somewhere, or they're like, I don't even know where that is. And that really bothers me.
No, that's not me. I don't look back and go, oh, those were the days. That's not me either, but I'm definitely proud of it.
Very cool. I was talking to a comedian probably about a year and a half ago, and I think he's won 2 Emmys. Mm-hmm. And as a writer for different, talk shows or whatever, I was like, oh, cool. Where's your Emmy? He's like, I can't remember the last time I even saw them. I don't know where they are. I'm like, what's wrong with you, man?
Well, I kind of love, Flea, the bass player for the Chili Peppers. He has his in his bathroom. I think at least he did. He used to keep his in his bathroom so all his guests could see. I always thought that was so cool.
That's hilarious.
He keeps his Grammy.
That's awesome. I love it. So let's talk about some of the work that you've done, that people that don't live in Los Angeles might have seen. And the first thing I want to talk about is, how do you say, historically and epic? And it is, okay, look. There's basically 3 types of sci-fi nerds.
Yeah.
There's the Star Trek nerds.
Yep.
There's the Star Wars nerds.
Right.
And there's the Firefly nerds.
That's right. And let me tell you, they are out there and it is real.
So I am a huge, huge fan of Firefly and
me too.
And Serenity. which episode, I've seen a picture on the internet with you and Adam Baldwin or Jane, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out which episode that was.
Janestown.
I knew it! Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh, man.
But you can't blink because you'll miss me. I mean, I'm in it for a second. And can I tell you, I was like, oh my God, this is like a real thing. It was, and what a cool gig to have. I remember my only regret is that I didn't tell Adam it was my first gig. I was so nervous and I wanted to play it cool. And I never told him it was my first gig. And you know what? As an actor who's been, in this business for a minute, I got to say, I love it when somebody mentions this is their first gig. Because it's just that thing of, oh man, I'm already in your corner. Let's do this together, And then it brings you back, reminding yourself of what that was like. But pretty cool to be in Joss's world, right?
Well, outstanding. I mean,
yeah.
That is number one on the list. Every time there's a list of TV shows that were canceled too soon or TV shows that, we wish would come back, that is always number one on the list.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love that show. Now, you've also been in some other notable and, will go down in history as some of the greatest television ever. You were in The Sopranos. What?
Yeah, I was. That was when they were shooting here in L.A. I got to work with Ben Kingsley, and I'm a huge fan of that show too. So it's like I feel very fortunate to have gotten to play with some of these players that I've been gifted. It's just wonderful. And since then, we've already in this household we've already binged it. In fact, we were just talking because we're Game of Thrones fans. We're like, okay, what are we going to binge next? And my husband's like, should we do Sopranos again? I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, we've already binged it a few times. It's just such a great series.
Now, I'm sure that everybody tells you to watch The Wire, but have you watched The Wire?
Oh, my God, yes. Oh, my God. We're huge fans. Huge fans.
Good.
So I think we've binged that twice. We when we find something good, we just stick with it and keep sticking with it.
Very cool.
That's some of the best writing in television for sure. That's why, being on a show like This Is Us, it's like, oh my God, the writing, how wonderful.
Oh, we're going to get to This Is Us. So calm down, all of you ladies. We're going to get there. So I think that, looking at your resume here with all the TV shows that you've been on, The Sopranos, Criminal Minds,
Mm-hmm.
The Mentalist, Law and Order LA, Weeds, Castle, It's Always Sunny. I mean, I could go on forever, but I think that you would be a very, very easy person to use when you're playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Right?
Or 6 Degrees of anybody, really.
Yeah, I just definitely have been doing it for a little bit, where you end up that's when it starts getting good. When you start going to set and you start seeing your peers on set with you that you'd worked with 10 years ago, and they've just gotten better and the party's just getting bigger, and it's really cool. That's the fun part. Now,
you were on Castle. Was there any connection at all from Firefly to Castle, or was that just a casting call and you got it?
That's it. No, I auditioned just like everybody else. Of course, I, mentioned it to Nathan. He's, such a cool guy. When I got Firefly, I was so freaking nervous that I just stayed in my little corner, stayed in my lane, knew my place. I had my one little line, if that, and I just kind of was a deer in headlights. So, at that point, even though I think, he was in that scene, I didn't go up and introduce myself.
So what did he say when you were on the set of Castle and you were like, hey, you probably don't remember this and you really shouldn't, but I was also in Firefly?
He was like, I can't tell you how many people say that to me, so a lot of people were on that show. They had a lot of players, so he gets that a lot, and he's really proud of that show, as he should be.
As he should be, indeed. I heard him do an interview on a podcast a bunch of years ago, and he said that at his house, whenever he has a party, he has one room that just shows the entire series and the movie on a loop during the party.
That's smart. That's smart.
That's what I would do.
Right?
I love that show. That show was great.
Yeah, it is.
Now, he also has a new show. I guess it's new. It's got one season in the books. It's called The Rookie. And
Yeah.
like he tends to do, he has a bunch of, I guess his friends, previous Firefly Serenity people come on the show. And The Rookie this season, he did have, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 people that are, kind of in the Firefly world. Maybe not even Firefly, but also he had, the young lady who was in Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog with him. I can't remember her name right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool that he brings people along to his different projects. Is there any chance we're going to see you on The Rookie next year?
No, but God, I mean, maybe I haven't been invited
How
yet.
dare
but I
you
would
say
love,
no?
I mean, meaning I don't know. I don't know, but I would love to. Are you kidding? I follow that guy's career everywhere. I love him. Such a pleasure to work with.
You're supposed to default to maybe.
Yeah, I know.
That's funny. Well, I'll talk to him and see what I can do about getting you on The Rookie.
Yeah, work that out, Steve, will you? Because I'd like to get on that.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. I got your back.
Yeah. Okay, you're on it. Okay. Oh, God.
Now, let's talk about your film career. We are going to talk about the other major thing that you're on, which is the biggest show on television right now.
Yeah.
But first, I want to talk about your films.
Great.
You were in Born to Lose. Tell me about that. I know it's a rock and roll film, and you got all DJ funkified and whatnot.
Yeah, my friend Doug Cocker, coolest guy in the world, doing this little indie film about a rock and roll band. And at that point, he was kind of around during the sport days, so he asked me to do a cameo in the film. I was so excited. I play a DJ, and that was fun. And brought my love towards independent filmmaking. I definitely love that.
So you've been in a few films and a bunch of TV and, a lot of stage. Which of those 3 is your favorite creatively to work in?
If you would have asked me like a year ago, I would have always said stage is where, it's an actor's medium. TV is a writer's medium. Film is a director's medium for the most part. I'm just obviously making these huge blanket statements, but, stage is always the trajectory of how I imagined my career, to finally get a name on television so that I could do Broadway and legit theater. But, I've kind of fallen in love with the intimacy of, television and film, especially this past year. I've gotten to work with some amazing, amazing players, and I've just kind of fallen in love with it. It's a subtle difference, but it's a lot more intimate in a way. I love it all. What can I say? I love it all. I think it's important to have a balance and go back and forth. Like I haven't been on stage now for a little bit, so that right now is something that's calling me right at this point in my career. But it's also about finding the time. I'm leaving to go shoot a film in a couple of weeks, and my hopes of getting into some theater this summer is, I got to follow the work here too. So we'll see, but it's definitely in my peripheral.
Very cool.
My name is Phil Rossi. I'm the creator of the sci-fi horror experience Crescent, along with Eden, Harvey, and a whole lot of other scary stories. I was quiet for a while, but I'm here to let you know that I'm back and in a big way. 50 hours of all new podcasts are ready for download on demand, including my new book, The Trance, a gothic cyberpunk detective story. And let me tell you, this book has got fangs. So here's the deal. For less than a cup of coffee or a pint of beer, you can become my executive producer. You can play a key part in taking my words off the computer screen onto the page and into the airwaves. For more info, free podcasts, and to sign up to become a part of my next big story, please visit patreon.com/Phil Rossi. Now turn out the lights and take a deep breath, because the story is about to begin.
Now, you say that, film and television might be a little more intimate. In what way?
Well, the camera's right there. It's right there, right? Just inches away from you. So it's, you don't have to reach the mezzanine like in the theater. It's just a more intimate environment. you know, how you play a character is a little bit, you don't have to work, you don't have to push as hard. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily work on making sure that you're on your voice, because you're mic'd, you know, on a set. So, you know, things like I mentioned, being able to reach the mezzanine and have people feel your performance, you have to, you know, be on your voice and know your voice and hit those levels. So,
well, I think that was a great answer.
Yeah.
Well explained, I think. I think that, you know, like you said, each one is nuanced in its own way.
It is.
But yeah, I think more intimate is a pretty good description. Have you gone to any of the, you know, sketch theater schools, you know, like Improv Olympic or, you know, UCB or anything like that?
I have. I've gone to both of those. UCB, Second City. Yeah. And then most of my friends are in that world.
And what made you get into those? Like, what made you decide to go take those classes?
Well, it's another skill set that I think is important to hone. At that point, I was doing a lot of drama, and I think, you know, that happens a lot in actors' careers, just by virtue of the fact that 1 hour episodic, there's just more parts than in a half an hour format. So you end up all of a sudden looking back, you know, 10 years later going, wait, I do comedy too, but why aren't I getting hired for that? Well, you know, there's just not as many parts necessarily. So, you know, that I started to hone in on, well, no, this is what I want. So, you know, focusing more on that.
That makes sense.
Because I very much enjoy doing both.
Now, folks, the reason I asked is because Laura has a sketch comedy group called Show Friends. Is that group still together?
No, it has since disbanded. Right now, we're on a kind of hiatus, but I'm really proud of the work that we did. And, you know, it all started where we were just 4 actors wanting to create. And it was just a real love of creating. And, you know, with 3 other funny actors, we just had a ball. We had a ball. And as a result, you know, we started getting some nice feedback. You know, we started getting some nice hits on Funny or Die. We became a little bit of a Funny or Die sweetheart, got in their peripheral, and yeah, had some fun doing some shorts, some comedy shorts.
Sort of a different muscle you get to flex.
Yeah. And it is, yeah.
What would you say is the biggest difference between shooting a television show for something like HBO versus, you know, somebody like CBS or, you know, ABC or something?
Well, I don't think there's really any difference. I mean,
Really?
It's all the same. I mean, I think the content's probably grittier. You know, cable can be a little bit more grittier, but yeah, I don't see any difference. You know, you're telling a story. You're on a set. You got working across another actor. You know, you're playing the scene. So I don't know why have others said they feel a difference.
Yeah, others have said that, you know, like HBO would, you know, be more of a take your time and kind of, you know, let it flow. Whereas network TV is sort of like, you know, on the clock, hustle, move on to the next one, hustle.
Yeah, that's not been my experience thus far. I mean, I think it's all, when you're doing TV, everybody's on a schedule. You got to hustle. So
Sure.
It's been like that, whether it's HBO or NBC, they got to make their day. You know, they got to get through so many scenes and whatnot. And then soaps are a whole different game, you know? So that's like going straight into the lion's den.
Nice.
They do what do they do? Like 3 or 4 episodes a day or something? I mean, it's just amazing. My hat's off to soap actors.
Yeah, that's, you know, back to Nathan Fillion. He said that's where he learned almost everything that he needed to know about acting was working on, I think it was One Life to Live.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I've done a handful of soaps, actually, and it is like you sink or swim, baby. You sink or swim. It is, you know, you get 30 pages that morning. You go to set, you block it, you get 1 take, and then you're out. So it's like live theater, only without the rehearsal.
It's like live theater, only harder.
That's right, it is.
Wow, that's crazy. So, I guess you recently were in a film called The Last Thing He Wanted. I think that's going to be a Netflix film.
Yeah.
When is that coming out?
You know, it was supposed come out, I thought, in spring, but they're pushing it back to the end of the year, which of course is a really good sign. So I'm pretty excited about this. I got to work with Dee Reese. How freaking cool is that?
So what was that experience like?
She's just the coolest. I mean, she was already in my peripheral because she had done a film called Pariah, which had gotten a lot of attention. And then when she did Mudbound, I mean, I was just blown away by her work. It's just, when that became an opportunity for me, I was just so excited. And to read the adaptation, because it's based on a Joan Didion novel, and to read her adaptation was like, oh my God, not only is she, just an amazing director and writer, but to be able to adapt something is a whole new skill set, and she did such an outstanding job with it. So she's pretty incredible. She's pretty fierce. And I'm glad she's getting the accolades now. Well deserved. So crossing fingers that this movie is huge, because I think it will be for her.
Well,
huge.
Based on the caliber of, her and her previous work, and then, Anne Hathaway and Ben Affleck, plus you ain't no slouch yourself, so I think that all of you are going to bring a pretty good product, and I can't wait to see it.
Me too. Thank you. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Very cool, I would say.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. Is it different working on a Netflix film or a film that is going to be sold to Netflix, if you even knew that at the time?
Well, I will say that, it was a different feeling. We shot in Puerto Rico, so, it was still devastated after the hurricane. So there was that to combat. But, Netflix, right now they're killing it. So, yeah, I guess their craft service was a little bit better. Maybe the meals were a little bit fancier. But, no, I mean, it's all the same. It's all the same.
Interesting. Well, I mean, that's good to know that it's not wildly different so that you have to, get all freaked out on a different level. You just get the regular amount of freaked out when you go to work.
Right. Now, I haven't gotten a Marvel movie yet. So talk to me after I get a Marvel movie or a big Disney movie, and then we can see, that might be different.
You know what? I think time is going to tell on this one, but I think that, the fact that you're in Netflix movies, I think that, in a few years, people are going to be like, oh my God, I was in a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Like you said, they are killing it. Yeah,
they are killing it. I mean, our household, and we always say, I'm like, we can, if we lost Netflix, when the Netflix goes, which it never does, it never goes down in our house. But, what are we going to do? It's Netflix. Oh my God. You don't have Netflix? What do you mean you don't have Netflix? Come on.
Yeah.
Where are you living? Under a rock? You got to have Netflix.
What monsters don't have Netflix? That's crazy.
I know. World problems, right?
Indeed. There's a lady who lives in my neighborhood. She's about 70 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I accidentally got her mail by mistake the other day. And in there was a DVD from Netflix. And I was like, holy shit, they still do this?
Oh, do they? Wow.
They do.
Wow, that's old school. That is old school.
That is old school. So I think on her particular plan, she gets 2 a month.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? I mean, I'm glad they still have that service.
I kind of like your neighbor.
All right, everybody. You've been waiting for a long time. I don't know if you've been patient or not because I can't see you, but we're going to get into it. Laura, you are on the most successful network television show currently on, and I would like to say congratulations because for one of the rarest times in history, it was announced that your show, This Is Us, did not get picked up for another season. It got picked up for 3 more seasons.
Is that incredible? It's huge.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that before.
Yeah, it's huge. It's so cool. I mean, just so exciting. And well-deserved. I mean, it's just a testament. It's just great writing, great directing, just all around. The players that are involved are just incredible. But yeah, who would know that this would be the thing? It's just, I feel so fortunate. I feel so, so fortunate.
Well, you should, because it's a great show, but you are wonderful on it. My wife and I have never missed an episode, so I've seen, every scene that you've done, and you kill it. And this is going to sound super weird. I always knew that the acting was great on that show, and I always knew that the writing was superb on that show, and the directing, all of it. But what it never occurred to me was the makeup department on that show. And let me say this, and I might cross a line here, and if I do, I apologize. Your character on that show where you play Milo, Jack's mom.
Yeah.
I get that, you're supposed to be an older woman. You're supposed to be a little bit, downtrodden, and it is the late 60s, early 70s. Your character is sort of a dowdy character.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how impressive the makeup department was until I saw a picture of you not from that show.
Right.
You are gorgeous, and that character is, let's just say, not as gorgeous as you are. So props to the makeup department.
Oh, hell yes.
For tamping that down.
Oh, my God, they're the best. They just knock it out of the park with everyone, too. I just think, getting to work with them was a real treat. Oh,
and also back to the makeup department and, I guess props and whatnot. I had no idea that Toby, was wearing prosthetics. He's not that big in real life.
That's right.
I had no idea. Like, it blew me away.
Isn't it great? I mean, just incredible. Just incredible. The magic.
So in America, we affectionately call it, Tissue Tuesdays.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know that in India, they call your show the American Crying Program.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Wow. Yeah, it really is. It's just amazing how this show has touched so many people. Just pulls at your heartstrings. And a perfect time for it right now, I think, in the environment that we're living in right now.
I think that show really gives everybody an escape. I mean, and that's what TV and film and all that is supposed to be. But that show is one of the rare ones that hits the mark where you really can escape into that show and not really worry about, for an hour, you don't have to worry about all the crazy bullshit that's going on in the real world.
Yeah, I agree. And it just softens everyone, in these complex, difficult times. It's just kind of just softens your heart a little bit. And, what a great thing to be affiliated with, what a great thing.
Well, I mean, we started talking about, one of the most iconic cut to short television series of all time. And now here we are, bookending it with you're on the most successful television show that's currently on TV. I think that's amazing. And it speaks to, your talent and your ease to work with. Because, somebody might be great at their job, but if nobody wants to work with them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so you must actually be a nice person also.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, I talk to my husband, before I've had my coffee. Maybe not so much, but... But yeah, I agree. This has got a different kind of struggle. And, it's at the end of the day, you're working, 17 hours a day sometimes with somebody. Like, nobody wants to work with the jerk for 17 hours, That's just the truth. It's a hard job in a lot of ways. I mean, we're not coal mining here, but it's, it's long hours. And I think, the day of hiring, people who aren't nice to work with, I think those days are gone. I remember I used to love, I heard once that Spike Lee, I don't know if he still does this, but he would call the PA on the last job when he was hiring an actor, on the last job they were at, and ask the PA how they were on set. And I thought, exactly. That's exactly who you want to call. You want to call the low man on the totem pole, make sure that actor was easy to work with and a nice person and decent, so kind of love that.
I haven't heard that. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, right? Isn't that cool?
Because basically that's what you do in every other profession.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of other professions, you don't have to work 17 hours a day, but yeah, exactly.
True.
Wouldn't that be great? Instead of calling HR, you'd call the person, the receptionist.
Yeah.
And say, hey, how were they?
Exactly.
Or the assistant to the assistant. How were they to work with?
Correct.
Right?
So On that topic, I've heard that Milo Ventimiglia is a total asshole on set. I'm just kidding. Tell all the ladies, is he just as nice and dreamy in person as he is on that show?
He really, really is. I mean, just the sweetest, most humble, generous guy. He really, really is. I'm so glad I really hit the jackpot with the players that I get to play with on that show. Just wonderful.
And we also hit the jackpot because all of you are amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you.
My wife and I were trying to figure out the last time we saw Marilyn Pearson, your character. Now, if I remember correctly, the last time we saw her was when basically Jack sort of like packed her a bag and said, go stay with a friend.
That's right.
Because, your husband is a little bit of an abusive prick.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yep, that's correct. That is the last time we see her.
Cool. All right, good. I just wanted to make sure we were both on the same page on that one. So awesome.
Right.
Well, Laura, can you tell me about, I guess you're working on a new short?
Are you talking about the divorce?
I actually don't know what it's called. I just know that you're directing a self-penned comedy short.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm going to stick my big toe in the water right now trying to get behind the camera. So, right now I just got this other project that I'm going to be working on next month. So I'm hoping to do that at the end of summer. Very excited about that.
Very cool. Why are you going to, what makes you decide to step behind the camera this time?
It scares me, and it's something that I have a project that I'm really passionate about. I love comedy. So, and I'm surrounded by some of the funniest people in this business. So I get to play with my friends. That's a good thing. So got to trudge forward with it. So it's exciting.
It's always fun when you get to play in a sandbox with people you know and admire.
Right? Yeah, that's the good stuff. That is the good stuff.
So you brought it up. Tell me about your divorce.
Oh, I did a film last year that's making the circuit right now in the festival. It's called The Divorce, and play a lead along with Naveed Nagaban, who was in fact, I just went to the premiere of Aladdin. He plays the Sultan. He's just terrific. And it's a dark comedy. Female director, Lindsay Campbell, and just real proud of it. Supporting female directors and just a great script. And so that's making the rounds right now. It's getting some accolades, which is exciting. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. So, as we're heading out, before we leave, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, I really participate mostly on Instagram. It's at Laura Niemi, LauraNiemi.
Thank you for the enunciation on that. That was very well done.
Was it? Okay, yeah, I practiced that.
Yeah, you must. You sounded like you've done it before. People are just like, did you say N as in Nancy or M as in man? What did you say there?
I know. It's one of those names. Yeah. I was just telling my husband last week. I'm like, God, in hindsight, maybe I should have come up with a stage name. I'm like, I got to give my dad his right to be proud.
There you go. Now, you've mentioned your husband a lot. What's his name?
Adam Gascoigne.
Cool.
He's a writer.
Hi, Adam.
He writes video games. And we just celebrated 13 years.
Oh.
Crazy.
Mazel tov.
13 years of marriage. Right? I know. It's amazing.
That's fantastic. Well done.
It is.
So, Laura, as we're heading out, is there anything that we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
You asked great questions. Great questions.
You're very sweet.
And I look forward to hearing about Nicole Butler. So I just love her. So
yes.
Well done.
She gets pretty graphic about some of the things that she's done. She's done some things that are sort of put her life in her hands. And so if you are a friend of hers, then you might be like, oh my gosh. But obviously, everything turned out well because you're still friends.
Yeah. Yep. So exciting. Well done.
It's a pretty good episode. Yeah. You're going to like it.
You're getting some great guests in. So kudos.
Well, I am now, thanks to you.
Kudos to you. Well, thanks so much. And for the compliments and praise, that was very sweet. And I enjoyed talking to you, Steve.
I enjoyed talking to you too. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street.
Absolutely. Have a great week.
You too. Have a great holiday weekend.
You too.
Thanks, Laura.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey guys, this is Steve Owens from Fascination Street Podcast here with a very important message. I'm awesome. I bet you thought I was going to say something else, but nope. What's important here is that I am awesome. I started this show because I truly believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear those stories. In the short time I've been doing this show, I've interviewed actors, directors, writers, inventors, podcasters, musicians, pro athletes, Olympic athletes, actual war heroes, even a Bond girl and a luthier, whatever the hell that is, and of course, regular people. From people who wanted to be stars but never gave it a real try, to big company CEOs and people who got to meet their favorite president. I love getting to meet and speak with people who have a story to tell. I feel like everyone does, and it's my job to get them to tell it. You never know who my next guest will be. An Academy Award-winning actor, a platinum-selling musician, or your own mother-in-law. But one thing is for certain, you will be fascinated by their story. So come take a walk with me down Fascination Street. You can find Fascination Street Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, FascinationStreetPod.com. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.